Today I started participating in the Sunway Citrus Chess Open 2024 and I'm super excited to play in this tournament. And on the first round I played against a 9 years old chess player from China, but he's representing Spain. And I was super nervous of this game because there are so many kids who are underrated nowadays in chess. And I was excited with this game. And let's see how did it go. I started playing with d4, knight on f6, c4, g6, knight c3, and d5. Actually, I did not expect that my opponent would play Grunfeld defense, as he usually was playing here. After d4, he was playing here d6, and then I expected that he would play King's Indian, but he decided not to do that and play knight on f6. Probably he was prepared against me really well. c4, g6, knight c3, and d5. It was really unexpected, so I took so much time, around like 10 minutes, to think how should I have continued here. And I decided to continue my main line, but here are so many variations. Instead of taking on d5, here's also e3, knight on f3, bishop g5, etc. But I decided to take on d5, which I found really interesting. Knight takes d5 and I played e4. Again, instead of e4, there are some variations like e3, knight on f3, etc. But I decided to play that. e4, knight c3, pawn takes c3, and bishop g7. It's like in the variation which is usually played, but here's also moves like c5, etc. But my opponent played here bishop g7, I played bishop e3 and c5. It seems like he was really well prepared, and even though he's just like 9 years old, nowadays kids are so much prepared and their memorization is very strong. So he played really well, and that's what made me scared, because, well, they're like brain is really smooth, they take everything really fast and learn, etc. And that's why I was scared, but I did not let my guards down and I fought till the end. Queen d2, and Queen d2's idea was simply to, if he would take on d4, I didn't want him to play queen on a5, so that's why I played queen d2. But he directly played queen on a5. Here I also took a lot of time, and actually I was the one who was thinking most, and he was playing really quickly. And I played here rook c1. Here I was thinking moves like knight on f3, knight on e2, and rook c1. And I decided to play rook c1 because I didn't like knight on f3 due to bishop g4. And I didn't like any other moves like knight on e2. I thought it would be early, but for example, after knight on e2, he might have taken that, and then queen d2, and now like this knight is not doing great because this bishop is not developed, and it would not be a bad move, but I decided to develop my rook, and after he took, which was really expected, he took on d2, and now my rook becomes really active on c5. And here I had two options, either to take with bishop or to take with king. I decided to take with king because after bishop takes d2, I felt like this bishop is going backwards. So I felt that king d2 is good move, plus it's gonna be endgame very soon, so I would need king in the center instead of castling. So king d2 is good move. Castle and bishop b5. Instead of bishop b5 was moves like knight on f3, etc. But I wanted to play bishop b5, not to allow bishop d7. For example, after bishop b5, if bishop d7, I just simply trade. And then rook c7 is really active, and now these both pawns will be hanging. So that's why I wanted to play bishop b5. And I also wanted him to play a6, because then I would play bishop on a4, and I would be able to play bishop b3 next. a6, bishop a4, knight c6. It's absolutely great move, because if I take with bishop, he takes, rook takes, and here is bishop b7. And if I play moves like rook c7, he's going to take, and now this pawn is hanging. So if I play f3, here's bishop d5, and if I take rook on e7, he's going to take on a2, and it's equal position, plus my king is in center, as there are still these two rooks, and it's still scary, and plus he has pair of bishops, and my knight and rook are not developed. So this position would be really scary. So that's why I decided not to take with bishop and play knight on e2 to protect my pawn on d4. And kudos to this little kid who found out this knight c6 move, which is really strong move. Knight on e2, rook d8, attacking my pawn, and d5 is only move. I was still thinking to play bishop b6 and then not take on c6, but I felt like I didn't want to give pair of bishops advantage, so I found very strong move d5. It seems scary because, well, my king is in the center and I play d5, and then he found only move e6, but well, I have really strong move here where he started thinking a lot. Bishop b6. It's really good intermediate move as it's threatening rook on d8, and if he would move rook on e8, this knight is already hanging. So that's why he should have played either rook d7 or rook d6, which is giving good game for me. Rook d7, and I played rook c6. Well, after rook d7 was also moves like knight c3 to protect this pawn and forcing black to take it. And then if he takes, I would just simply probably take, and if he would take rook d8, rook d5, I would play rook e1. But, well, I decided not to want to give extra pawn, and rook c6 is really good tactic, even though chess.com says that it's inaccuracy. B takes c6, bishop takes b takes c6, bishop takes c6, and rook b8. He still found the first move. Instead of rook b8, there was no other choice. Like, for example, if rook d6, there just bishop c5, and he's forced to take, and like, I have an excellent position. So rook b8 is only move, which he found really fast. I'm so shocked by this guy's like way of playing. Bishop d7, rook b1. Here, even though I have extra pawn, it's still equal because my opponent has pair of bishops, and I can't move my bishop yet because it's pinned. But he should have played really clearly here in order to make a draw, which is really hard, especially such small player. And he took on d5, which is not bad move. I took, and bishop f8. Probably he wanted to play bishop c5, where I would lose this bishop, but of course I knew it and I played knight c3. Bishop f8 was big mistake because it led me to play knight c3. Bishop h6 and bishop f3. Seems like it's inaccuracy and moves like king d3 would be best, but actually bishop f3 is really logical move. I just want to trade these bishops and trade these rooks, and then it would be a big chance to win the game because I have extra passed pawn. Rook b1, knight takes b1, and bishop f8. Here I was thinking that I was winning this game already, but it's just slightly better for white as there are still two bishops and my opponent has pair of bishops advantage, and not easy to win the game, but same time not easy black to make it draw. King c3 is the only best move here. In order to win this game, you need to activate king, and as always when it's endgame you need to activate your king and push it to center. a5 is mistake as it allowed me to play king c4, pushing my king close to my pawn as it's passed pawn, and I would win eventually. Bishop e4 and bishop c5, another great move. I want to trade these bishops and then it's absolutely win. Bishop f5, and thankfully here I found only move to win the game. d6, it's brilliant move which is absolutely amazing, as after bishop b1 there is just d7 and black can't protect this passed pawn. Black can't play bishop e7. Black can't take this pawn. So that's why this sacrifice of knight would be the best. And that's why d6 was excellent move, which he missed. And after I played d6, he started thinking a lot. And then he played bishop e6, only move, where any other moves is losing a game. Bishop e6, king b5, promoting my king. Bishop d7, king b6, getting close to this bishop. King on f8. Now, of course, I'm winning because my king is close to this pawn on d6, and then eventually I will develop my knight. Bishop b4, a takes b4, king c7, king e8, knight d2. Idea is to play knight c4 or then knight e5 or knight b6, and that's why I played it. f5, knight c4, g5, knight on e5, bishop b5, that's already a win. Knight takes d7, h5, we continued, played for a while. It's just a win, but I was really careful not to let any kind of complication in this game. As for example, if I would take on a4 and if I would just simply try to push my pawn, there would be some chances to play g4, h4 and some end game thing after g3, as it's really common end game study, but of course I solved it, and I did not want to rush to take pawn and promote, and I played king e5 just to be sure. h4, knight b4, king on h5, knight d3, king g4, and then h3, and then I just simply gave this knight and played a4, and my opponent here resigned. It was a very interesting game, and I'm so happy the way I played. My accuracy was really high, around 95%, and very good start of the tournament, and let's see how last 9 rounds will go. And if you liked the video, make sure to give thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you enjoyed with this game, with this recap, and subscribe for more.